Welcome to the Breadwinner Energy Podcast. This is your host, Tay Daniels, mama, wife, multi-business owner, and creator of the Breadwinner Energy movement. In this podcast, we're all about changing women's lives, especially those who do not grow up with perfect circumstances, by helping them step into their highest self era, break free from society's expectations, and become a force to be reckoned with. We help women embrace their powerhouse, most authentic energy, cultivate inner peace, and call in everything she has ever wanted in life. So if you're ready to become the breadwinner of your own life, join me on this journey of transformation, empowerment, and abundance. Welcome back to another episode of the Breadwinner Energy Podcast. I am really excited for today's episode because I am bringing in someone who has been pivotal in all areas of my life, and I'm very excited to share her with you because she is an amazing human. Taylor was not only my doula that helped me have my dream birth, she's also been one of my students and now works on our team. She has also been the glue holding me together over the last few months as I transition into this new chapter of my life. She has been coaching me. She has been helping me design offers. She has been keeping me in my own energy as she also co-coaches with me. So welcome in, Taylor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so excited for this because I think Taylor can give you guys this perspective of how the last few weeks and months have gone. I pulled her into our business very quickly, and then I was like, actually, hold on. We're like rebranding, redesigning. We're doing all these new things. So I'm going to need your help. And she's just like jumped right in. And I think the cool part is that you've been a student, so you've like really understood from a student perspective, but then now from a friend perspective and then a business perspective, you kind of have this like full circle of what we've done. And I think you're able to share like the things that I went through from your perspective so that we can help other women realize that this journey is not like a one and done, right? You don't like just do the work, wash your hands, and move on. And I can't tell you how many times I told Taylor, like, I thought I was past this. Why am I dealing with this? It was like daily. I was having meltdowns.
Yeah, it's so wild because it's like every single time you level up, it's like taking a freaking shower or washing the dishes. It's like you got to keep doing it. They get dirty again, you get dirty again. It's like as you level up, the thoughts resurface, the hard comes back up, and it's so frustrating because it's like, yeah, I thought I was past this, but it's been, and I know this is one thing that I've said to you so much as a reminder, is like you having to do this work again right now is going to serve your clients 10 times better because you not only went through it previously, like multiple times as you've leveled up multiple times, but you're like living it again in real time to then overcome and then take into this next season with these new offers and like transitioning into like what I think you're like truly, truly meant to do all along.
Oh, I totally agree. But it's been wild and insane. So Taylor and I are talking every day, all day, basically. We're in each other's lives. So we're in Slack, and I just told her like my energy has plummeted. It's been months of back and forth and up and down, and like I'm also in the middle of like working with a naturopathic doctor and healing my hormones and healing my body, and now I'm like a year postpartum, and so I have kids at home, and I'm like reliving the thick of babyhood while I'm also redesigning my business, while I'm also like in the thick of a legal battle. And like we opened the doors to waitlist, and I feel like I literally just crashed and burned on day one. I was like, I spent so many weeks doing this that like I just burned out. And Taylor was like, let's just get on and like share the journey, coach, and do the things that you're good at that you and I have been talking about for weeks. So we can really just open the doors and let people into our conversations. Like, I swear, if we could have just invited people into Slack over the last few weeks, people would be like, this is insane. I don't know how you pulled this off. How are you still surviving? And I think this is a testament to the work, right? Because you're going to be tested all the time. You're going to have to go back through it. And like you said, I've done this work in different ways and different levels during different periods of my life. but I'm like remastering the work as I'm building the business at the exact same time so that I'm so close knit to this work to be able
Mhm.
to do birth offers that are like very, very intentional. And I don't feel like I've ever put this amount of intentional work into my own life while into my business and clients at the exact same time. And so, yeah, you've really been like first, like a first hand seat. And I think it's also been nice too to have you around because Taylor is like very much gets it. She understands it. It's like non-judgmental. She's like, I want to be in this program. And I'm like, you literally watched me like spiral out into my own emotions and crying and frustrated like weekly, and you want to be in it. And I think that that part is like true to embodying this authenticity and understanding like it's not going to be linear. It's not just going to be like one and done. And then you're going to get past it, but people can watch you go through the journey and still like love you and want to work with you. And I think people think like that would make people not want to work with me. You know, that would make people scared to work with me because they saw me struggle. But I think it's like a true testament to walking the walk, really.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think there's a lot of coaches in the industry that people see that feel like they're so far beyond the place that you feel like you are coming in as the student, which can feel cool, like to look at and be like, oh my God, she's 1,000 steps ahead of me.
Mhm.
And maybe in certain ways she is,
Right.
but it's always good to have that reminder. And I think the coaches that are able to do this probably end up having the most success of like, but here's the real, here's the bad day, here's the thing that I still had to go through. And I think when people can see that realness of you doing the work, it's so much easier to trust someone. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
I can trust you more knowing that like you've been through it too.
Yeah, and you're still close to the work because I agree. I do think that when you join certain coaching programs with a coach, if they're on like level 100 and you're on level 1, sometimes they are so far away from the work. And I know specifically like with Brooke Castillo and with Stacey Bayman, like they've even said like, you know, I have team that run my other offers because they're closer to the work and sometimes they can give better coaching and see different perspectives. And for a long time, I even talked about openly on social media how I didn't feel like it was right to throw students to your team. And while I still do believe that as the coach, it is your job to deliver coaching and deliver on what you say you're going to do, I also have seen coaches do this really well. Like Stacey Bayman is definitely a person I've seen in her 2K for 2K program, has other coaches run it, and it is still an immaculate program that gets results. And I mean, technically, it's a course of coaching, right? But she's very honest and open about the fact that you're going to work with her team, but her team has been in it and through it and is still in it to the point where like they're closer knit. So when we launched Breadwinner Energy School and having Taylor be the coaching person in there makes more sense because she is closer to this work. Like she has mastered this work so much so that like I rely on her for this work. And then in Embody, it's like I'm so close to it. It's where I'm doing the best thing that I can do for my students. And so even though I've said in the past, like don't have your team like run your programs and never see students, I do think there's an open time and place where someone closer to the work could get your students better results. And I do agree that if you're so far away from the work you're doing, it's really hard to get back in it. And I honestly think that's why I'm going through and going through right now is because I was needing a refresher on how much this work impacts your life. And then Taylor's been in coach school, and then she now coaches in coach school, and we see it like on repeat with other students, right? It's not oh, I'm launching my offer. It's not, oh, sales. It's this mindset stuff. It's this deep rooted inner working around money and people pleasing and afraid of success and afraid of being seen. And that is the work that makes you successful. And so that was why this just felt like this will change more lives with more people than business coaching ever could.
Yeah, because this element has always been in your programs anyways.
Yeah.
And I know for you, like in the conception stages of these new offers, it was a lot of like, but why burn down the thing that I worked so hard to do and
Yeah.
start something totally new? And, being able to kind of see your blind spots and be like, but this isn't new. Like you've been doing this. And when these are the coaching questions in the calls that fire you up,
Yeah.
with some of the just more strategy related questions, which are also important, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And you know that this is what lights you up, and those are the questions that you could literally just like riff on and answer. Like that's when you're like, okay, this is it. Like this is what I'm supposed to be coaching on more of. Like let me lean into this. But it's so hard, and we do have those thoughts that come up of like, but I just spent 6 years building this business. Like, why am I burning it down? But in reality, it's like, it's really just a pivot. It feels like you're burning it down, and it kind of sort of, but like, it is just a pivot. And I think you have gotten firsthand, like, and I know you'll teach your students this in Embody, but like, the, the, the universe is giving you the tests. Like,
Oh my
you say
God.
you want something, and I know you've told me this too, is like instead of the universe, like if you say you want $10,000, the universe isn't going to give you $10,000. The universe is going to give you the work that you need to do to get to that $10,000. And it's
Yeah.
like you have been shown that like so many times in the last 2 months of
I
like,
swear
oh,
to God, it's like
are
every
you
day.
sure you want this? Are you sure you want this? No, but are you sure you want this?
It was like every day, every other day, it was like, okay, we're good. Like, I'm good. We're rolling, we're rolling. And then bam, I was like just knocked down over and over. And I felt like every time I got up, I was being kicked. And I was like, what is happening? And I swear to you, this will happen. When you decide to change your mind and change your life and to embody this new version of you, you are going to be put through so much shit to see if you're willing to do the work to get to where you say you want to be, and like how much can you endure. And it's going to like push you to give up. I cannot tell you how many times I wrote into Slack and I was like, I'm fucking quitting, I hate this, I'm giving up, like I can't do it. Here I am, still doing it, still here. But those weeks were torturous. I mean, like, and I'm not even out of the thick of it, like I'm still in it. But I think that like those last weeks, I think could have taken anyone out of the game. Like most people would have been taken out of the game. If you were not self-aware enough, you had not done enough work on yourself to get yourself out of those spirals, you would have no one would have lasted through that. Like I wouldn't have lasted through that 5 years ago. There's no way. I would have quit. But I do think that when you go through this process and you get to look back, like if I can make it through that, I can make it through anything. Like I can get through anything if I can get through this. And it builds this like trust within yourself, and it builds this like resilience within yourself. And that's what you have to have in order to go to these new levels that you want to go to. The problem is so many people through this journey quit, give up, and aren't willing to do the tests, aren't willing to be resilient outside of it, and they're like really just succumb to the pressure. So yeah, you've definitely got a firsthand look. I also want to briefly touch on the offer creation that we did, because
Yeah.
offer creation, I think we threw out a million names, a million ideas, a million concepts. I went back and forth on one of our offers like a lot. Like, I don't know if we should do it. I want to pull it. No, I want to keep it. And
Yeah.
I do want to talk about too, because old Tay would have thrown the offers out without thinking, and then totally regretted them later because I did not build them in alignment. I didn't give them time. I didn't let them sit. I didn't like just allow them to be before deciding. I would have just like threw them out and then regretted it. And I did that a lot in my business years for, as a virtual assistant, as an OBM, with a course, with other programs. That this point in my life, I was like forced to sit with my ideas for weeks. And if you know me, that is like a death sentence for
Sure.
me. I was so uncomfortable. I was like, I can't sit with this shit anymore. And
I
I
know. I
left.
feel like there was even a couple times where you're like, I'm trying to remember what the conversation was, but it was something about like how long it's been. And I'm like, Tay, it's been like 2 days. And you're like, what? Like, I don't even think it's been 48 hours. And you're like, no way. I feel like it's been 2 weeks.
Like literally every day felt like a lifetime. Like I was crawling out of my skin and just pure discomfort of like, this is not my norm and I hate this and I hate sitting in it. And now looking back, I feel so grateful that I was like put in that pressure cooker while also forced to be like patient and forced to sit with it, which I find really interesting because this exact time, like in April last year, I was pregnant and Taylor was my doula. And I had been having pre-birth stuff from 36 weeks. And by 40 weeks, I was tapped out. I was done. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to sit. I don't want to be patient. I don't want to wait. And I was going to be induced and I didn't want to do that. And so the day that, like hours before my induction, I went into labor. And I didn't want an epidural, but then I had to like endure that pain. And like, I was like, I want to get the epidural. And Taylor's like stalling me. And it's so weird because exactly 1 year later, she's in my business helping me rebirth new offers and rebirth a new business. And I'm having to sit with the same thoughts and the same feelings and the same discomfort. And that's the life's way of giving you the test to see if you're going to pass it. And they give it to you in different ways. And it's your job to recognize it and be like, okay, I have to choose something different. I have to choose new thoughts and a new way to live and a new way to be. And if you don't, you're just going to get the test over and over and over again until you're so sick of your own shit that you're like, something's got to change. And that is the exact thing that birthed these new offers. Like that was it right there. It's like, okay, this is what women need. Women need to like literally be handheld through these processes because even last year I was self-aware. I'd had a baby before. Like I've done these things before, but I needed Taylor to like be an outside person to like handhold me and keep me accountable through the things. And that's what women need. And that's how we built the offers.
Yeah, I think for you, one of the biggest the concept maybe that you were butting up against the most was this idea of, well, I think there was a lot of things, but one of the things was like I I do things quick and dirty. I make decisions fast, and that is a trait about yourself that you like about yourself. So you're like, I'm fighting against this thing that I actually like admire about myself and that is actually like a good thing that has served me very, very well in my business so far.
Yep.
And it feels so contradictory to like take this thing that has worked for you up to this point and
Yeah.
actually do it differently. And it's but it's so interesting because like different things are needed at different stages.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, you do have to be kind of faster to fail, get your decisions out there, make decisions quickly. And I'm not saying that when you get later on that you shouldn't make decisions quickly, but sometimes you do have to let them sit a little bit more because
Yeah.
now you've got these failures behind you, you've got these lessons behind you. So it's less about, okay, let me just fail more quickly forward. And now it's like, okay, I have enough data now. I'm sitting on enough evidence of like what has worked for me and what do I want. So let me actually take the time to dissect it and look at it and be like,
Mm-hmm.
what did work about what I've done so far? What offers did feel the best? What and not just the offer itself, but like the length of the offer and the amount of live coaching in the offer and the amount this that gives you the schedule you want and like all of those elements that you now have this data to show you,
Yes.
but all you've ever known is but I just fail quickly and I just move forward and I move on and I put something else out. And if it's not good, I move on again. And like, it's so like hard to up level of like, that's what got me here, but now something totally different is going to get me there. And that's really hard to like wrap your brain around at each level.
It literally is. And two, I like vividly remember because I was in here, I was like writing on this whiteboard because you and I had done this forever. And oddly enough, I taught this in Academy in 2021. And that kind of like formulated what we've got now, but was going to like, where do you want to be in your future? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your schedule to look like? How much money do you want to make? What are the experiences you want to have? Why do you want to have them? And then build a business around that to support that life, right? I mean, so often we build ourselves into the business and then we hate the schedule and we're not making the money and we're not aligned because we go back to, oh, but I have to work more to have the life. When in reality, if you have focus more on the life, like the business will support that. So through this journey together, a lot of what Taylor and I did was me deciding what I want my future to look like because it's not totally what I wanted it to be. And while that this schedule served me for a period of time, it's not serving future me. And this is where you have to like reinvent yourself and redo the work. Like it's never ending. But Taylor kept holding me to accountable to stop trying to like over deliver and over give. Like you're giving enough while also like keep up with what you said you wanted. Because I would say like, oh, I want to have this or I want to do this, and she'd be like, are you sure you really want that? Because that reality requires you to do X, Y, and Z. And you just told me you don't want to do all that traveling, you don't want to be away from your family and kids that much, but like that reality might require that of you. So like, do you actually want that reality? And then, going back to like the coaching schedule and how much coaching I would be doing it versus how much time I'd be spending with my kids. And like, okay, that doesn't align with the things you just told me you wanted. Like her being able to see that outside side of me that I'm telling her I want, which is not matching this reality that I'm building, is so helpful, which is what we're doing in Embody, which is what we're doing in Embody Breadwinner Energy. Is like I can see, because I can see it for other people, right? But when you're in the thick of it, you
Mm-hmm.
think you're doing what's in alignment, but you're really not. And you keep saying you want this thing, and then you keep doing this other thing. And that's the work of Embody that Taylor was able to do for me while I was in this process.
Yeah, it's really cool to see and really, really cool to be in the in the behind the scenes because people do just see what you put out, with anybody and everybody. Like we only see what people show to the public. We don't always see all of the hard
No.
in the background.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think taking the time that you took to really think through, you know, who this was for,
Mhm.
what this was going to be, and I feel like if we go into our Google Drive, there's like 100 documents that like are
Oh my
probably
gosh.
totally irrelevant now because it's like scrap that idea, move on to this, or like take one piece of that idea and put it into this, and it was like reworking it 3 different times, and
I
you
swear.
know,
Like
like
20-page long documents of back and forth notes to each other and
who's
just
this for? And yeah,
yes. And it was like, no, wait, she's actually better fit here, but she's actually better fit here. And then I kept wanting to like move on to pieces, and you're like, well, hold on, we gotta do this thing over here first. And I was like, it was fucking insane. Insane. I still can't even believe we pulled off waitlist week, even in the time we did. Like I'm still shook that we even pulled this off. It felt like years,
even
but
a week ago we were talking about pushing it.
yeah. Yeah, literally, I was gonna push the date out. I was like, our photos aren't gonna be ready in time for waitlist week. Like, our web designer is like on crunch time. She like literally whipped out our website in a week. Like, it was intense because it was a lot of me being unsure and a lot of me sitting in my emotions and a lot of me sitting and like trying to make decisions while also being blocked. And then once I kind of like cleared the mud and started like solidifying decisions and then creating, and then it was like, okay, like go, like it felt like this very slow path, and then just like boom, like we're taking off. And then before I knew it, I was like, oh shit, like waitlist is open, like we're here, we did it. We're in
Yeah,
it. It was insane.
Yeah, actually, I feel like that would be a good thing to touch on is this conversation we had. I think it was maybe last week, and this was after a lot of back and forth, where this word came up so much, blocked. Like, I am so blocked. And even like you would tell me, sorry, my baby's talking in the background. You would like, drive to get coffee and you would kind of get unblocked, and then you'd come home and you're like, oh my God, now I'm blocked again. Like, what is it about this house? Or what is it about, like, whatever. The kid's whining. I can't hear myself think, which moms, you guys get that.
Right. Oh
Um,
my gosh.
but one thing you said was, how do I know when to like, and the block is like a sign that something isn't supposed to happen versus like I need to like push through this block.
Yes.
So I'm kind of curious to hear like what, I don't even know exactly my question. Like what was that determining factor for you, or how did you kind of resolve that in your own brain of like, okay, no, I do need to push through this block versus like, nope, this is a sign that the universe doesn't want me to do this.
That is such a good question because this exact thing controlled me for weeks. Was feeling very blocked, and I don't feel like this was new for me. It was a new experience because I almost never feel blocked in my business. I'm like always very sure of myself and very sure of my decisions and what I want to do in my future. And like it's all been very clear to me for so long that when I became blocked, it wasn't like a day. It wasn't even like a week. It was like weeks of being blocked to the point where I was like, what is going on? This is so not normal for me. And I was so incredibly uncomfortable. And I remember even saying that to you in Slack was like, I don't know whether this means redirect. I don't know if this means stop. I don't know if it means pause. I don't know if it means push through. And I've coached a lot of women on being blocked, and I can tell it's their own fear coming in and withholding them from moving forward instead of just pushing through the fear. But this wasn't that. This was like, it wasn't fear. It was pure confusion and not choosing to be confused. It was like, I literally don't know because of other circumstances in my life, like my legal case that I'm going through. So there's so much out of my control that that's another thing is like, I love being in control, and feeling completely out of control of my life felt like shit. And so I had to get really real with myself and process like, why do I feel this way? Where is it coming from? What can I control? And why do I want to move forward so fast and so bad? And once I got like more clear on these things of like why I feel this way and where it's coming from and what I want, I had to allow it to just be, because I was like, there's nothing I can do right now to avoid this discomfort. Because this is what this is. Like, I just feel uncomfortable, and making a decision right now to avoid discomfort is only going to make me more uncomfortable, because that decision is going to come from a place of pushing through when I need to kind of like take a step back. This comes from being really self-aware of yourself though. And so then there was a point where I fully like took a step back from it. But then there was this point of like, okay, here are all the things I can control and here are all the things I can't control. And if I live off what I can't control, aka my legal case, and I wait for that to be resolved before I move forward, I could literally not make decisions for months. I don't know how long this is going to be. We're still in it, right? We're launching.
We thought it was going to be resolved weeks ago and it's not. So what if we would have just not done anything?
Exactly. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's worse for me. That feels worse. So what if I just make decisions as if that thing doesn't even exist? Like, what if I just make decisions and like live my life based on what I want, what's going to fulfill me? And then that's going to get resolved in the future. And I can make decisions past that, but I can't make decisions based on this circumstance right now when I can't allow like everything to be out of my control. And I think this is a testament to trusting yourself, believing in yourself, trusting your intuition, and realizing, being self aware enough to know, okay, this is where I need to step back and take a breather. This is where I need to walk away. This is where I need to give time. And this is where I need to push through. I'm a natural push through type person. So I know for me, this meant I needed to take a step back. Where for other women, most of the time, they need to just push through because they're almost always taking a step back. But that's where you have to know yourself. You have to be self aware. And also you kind of have to be like not afraid to fuck up. Like I was like, I'm gonna push through, and if I fuck up, well, then I have to own that, and that's what it is, and that was the decision I made. But a lot of clarity will come from that fuck up, so at least I'll get what I want, which is clarity anyway. So that was how I navigated that. But I would say that was probably the number one most discomfort I sat with for weeks, was just feeling like I don't know how to make a decision right now, and I always make decisions. I love making decisions. So it's just
Yeah.
action.
Yeah. I think that statement, and I know we said this a lot in the last few weeks and months, of just like control what we can control. And that is so effing hard.
Yeah,
Like, so hard.
it's the worst.
Especially when we feel like the things that we can control are still affected by things that we can't control. And it's like,
I know.
okay, I can control whether or not I don't know, put on the raincoat and bring the umbrella, but I can't control if it rains, and I still might get wet with an umbrella over my head. Like, it's kind of like that weird, like, in between of like, you can kind of control it, but you kind of can't. And like,
It's really trust too. Like I think there's this part of me that has weird trust and belief in that nothing is a coincidence and everything always works out for me whether I like it or I don't. And that belief has got me where I am today. And I believe and embody that belief that this is hard right now, but it's for a reason. This is hard right now, but it's going to get me somewhere else in the future. And this is for a reason. And if I sit down and I allow this part of my journey to teach me something to move forward, then I can kind of enjoy the journey, even though it sucks. I can look back and be like, I survived that. I got through it. It was for a higher purpose. And that belief carries me all the time. But I think this is where you have to like learn yourself, trust yourself, do the work, and have this like outside of you belief that you can truly create for your reality, which is also like everything we put into this program. It's everything we teach is this. This is the work. It's the work that changes your life, it changes your money, it changes your relationships, it changes your business. And if you don't do it, it's only going to continue to resurface. It's only going to come to the top. And you'll only get so far in your life and so far in your relationships and so far with your money and your business until it comes to this like evil head that you have to do the work through. And if you don't, like it'll crush you. So for me, when we made this pivot, it was at this point where I had said, I want to make a bigger impact in the world. Like that was where I kind of like left the stamp. I ended the last podcast episode with, I want to change the world. I want to change women, like massive impact for women to feel safe and to have this like space to change your own life and change other people's lives. And like that was like, okay, I like kind of closed the door on that. And I was like, look, like me coaching coaches, it's only a small pool, but so many other women need this work because it's in all facets of your life. It's not just coaches, it's not just the industry, it's not even just business owners. Like it is collective for all women to live in alignment with where they want to be, to live their purpose. And that was where I was like, I have to go for this because this has been what been sitting on for so long. And now we're here. And now the doors are open and now everyone can join.
so join.
Exactly. So join. So yeah,
Yeah.
the doors are open. You guys can click the links below. You can join Embodying Breadwinner Energy. The doors are only going to be open for another week and it will close the door and it won't reopen until next year. So if you have resonated with any of this, if you're trying to work through your own shit, you're trying to level up, you're trying to make more money, you're trying to heal your nervous system, you're trying to just reinvent yourself, Embody is the place to be. It is the place to be. Hands-on coaching, community support, one-to-one attention to redesign your life. And you're going to want to be in that room.
Yeah, for sure. It was a a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of throwing out the things that weren't going to work, and going through the muck, and making it perfect.
Yeah, it was worth it. Like it
Yeah.
definitely is worth it. Like I'm so excited about this program that like, oh, I'm just really excited. And thank you for being on this journey, Taylor. Thank you for like holding my hand through it and helping me design the most perfect space for women. And Taylor will be around. She's one of our co-coaches, so you'll get access to like her hand holding. But if you're like, I'm a business owner, I make multi six figures, and I need someone like one to one in my life and in my business to walk me through the shit, like Taylor's your person. She will like come in and just, oh my God, it's best money ever spent. Like I can tell you that for sure. Probably would not be here today. It wouldn't have happened this way or this fast without you. Like I truly believe that. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all the coaching you've provided me. It's been so fun to see this like back and forth of like, I'm your doula coaching you, you're my business coach coaching me. Like, I'm in the inner workings of this, like seeing your blind spots that I can't see for myself either. It's like, we
Yeah.
can't see our own blind spots. We need these other people that are on the outside to help pull us through and see them for us. Cause even the best coaches, like, they can't
Mm-mm.
do their own shit.
Oh,
You can self coach and yeah, you can like learn the skills and you can get out of the muck faster and get out of spirals more quickly, but you also still need like these sometimes a bird's eye view or an outside perspective.
yeah, 100%. I know like $1 million coaches that have coaches. Brooke Castillo, she makes what, 40 million? She has a coach. It's like you need it in your life. It's so important. But the links are below. You guys can officially join today, Breadwinner Energy School, or apply for Embody. If you're not sure on which program is best for you, you can always shoot me a DM, or you could just take the quiz and it will tell you specifically based on your own results which program is best for you, which is so cool that we set that up because it is like so clear, like path A, path B. So go take the quiz, go enroll for Embody. And as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will chat with you on the next episode.